Joining me now to talk more about the case, the next steps, national trial attorney Donte Mills. It's got to be hard for these family members to hear her say that. I mean, it's been such a circus and it's such a convoluted case of multiple deaths. What do you make of her demeanor in court during sentencing and then her bizarre comments about being part of this spiritual world?
The word you used was absolutely spot on, chilling. It really was. And I want this to be absolutely clear. There's different reasons why a judge hands down a sentence. Sometimes they want to deter other people from committing the same crime and other reasons. But here, it was strictly for punishment. The judge believed she deserved this. She deserved the maximum sentence because the crimes were so heinous. And as the judge said, she had so many other options. She went down this religious rabbit hole to justify her murdering her children, where there were families that would have taken the children in. Her family loved these children and would have done the same. If she wanted to live a life of glitz and glamour in Hawaii with a new husband that she stole from someone else, she didn't have to murder her children to do that. And that's why the judge made it absolutely clear that she deserved the full and the maximum punishment for these crimes.
Right. And she adopted JJ, right? Like that was her choice to have him as her son and go through that process. Larry Woodcock, JJ Vallow's grandfather, spoke to my colleague Brian Enton on Banfield last night and talked about Lori Vallow playing the system. I want to share with that for folks at home.
There is no way that she is a special being, that she talks to God, that she talks to kids, that she talks to Tammy. And that is a ridiculous statement. I can tell you right now that that is nothing more than a 5-gallon bucket of BS.
So is it an act? Is she mentally unstable? Is it a combination of both? I guess my question legally to you is, will her mental competency still be challenged? And will her attorneys appeal on that front?
They may appeal, but I can tell you the judge was very clear when he said he assessed her. And what you have here is she was in prison for almost 1,000 days. So she's been under watch. She has a history of being in prison where they can say how she interacted with everyone else, how she was on a daily basis. So for her to show up in court and talk as if she's having these conversations with God and that she's not really with it, it's going to be difficult when they have such a history of monitoring her closely for the last 1,000 days and they haven't seen anything that would reach the level of insanity or reach the level of her not being aware of what was going on or being able to stand trial for what she actually did. And the judge decided that. He said he's observed her. She refused to talk to the pre-sentencing report investigators and give them information, but she's been under observation while she was in prison for a long time. And the judge determined that there's nothing wrong with her other than she made up this religious rabbit hole to justify her crimes.
Right, just pure evil. The family says it's all a show. Vallow faces 2 conspiracy to commit murder charges, 1 for the death of her 4th husband, Charles Vallow, 2 for conspiring to kill her niece's ex-husband, Brandon Boudreaux, who survived. How will the proceedings and the sentencing in Idaho impact these cases, which will be tried in Arizona?
Well, they will, because you have to assume that even though it's in a different state, the jury has heard about this conviction and know who she is in regards to these murders. That's going to factor in. But also knowing that now she's convicted of these crimes, it ties into the history. She's a murderer, right? That's what she does. So it's going to play into these additional charges. I do believe she's going to be found guilty because there is strong evidence in those cases as well. And I don't think that unless she changes her stance and becomes apologetic, and show some remorse, I think the jury and the judge is going to approach it the same way and say, you deserve to be punished because you've done these things and you're not taking responsibility for them.
Yeah, not only did she not apologize in her statement yesterday, she denies that any of these people were murdered at all. And we were looking just a moment ago at the shallow grave where her son and daughter were buried. He was 7 years old in his red pajamas. Attorney Donte Mills, what a sad case. Thank you for being with us to talk more about it and understand next steps. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.